we had a debate a couple of weeks ago, and I really think it was the Assembly, some of the finest work the Assembly's done. We disagreed about an issue, but we debated some very important and fundamental questions about our state constitution. And we had a disagreement, and there was a vote, and that issue will be decided in the courts, I think, very soon. But here again, we stand today with a bill that I think directly violates a clause in our state constitution. And there's a disturbing trend that's occurring where the majority party, for policy goals or policy ends, is comfortable with ignoring the fundamental law of our state. And I think that should be troubling to all of us. So my objection today and the questions is we didn't talk about this at the Appropriations Committee, but I think it's legitimate and important to talk about the constitutional implications of a bill that impairs hundreds of thousands of contracts in the state and does take away remedies from landlords that they presently have. And so we should think very carefully about what we're doing in terms of not should we do it, but can we do it? And that was the problem with the bonding bill, and that's the problem, I think, with this bill. Besides that, though, it is bad policy, and I think the math is just irresistible, Mr. Speaker. If landlords collect less in rent and are impaired from collecting less in rent, even if you're saying that the payments are spread out over time, they're still collecting less in rent in certain years, they will make tax appeals. Their property taxes will be reduced because their profits will have been cut. And municipalities with apartment complexes will have no choice then but to put the burden of their property tax levy on homeowners, individuals who haven't been impaired by a law like this. And the property taxes will go up for homeowners who continue to make their mortgage payments and who tell me the number one problem in the state is their property taxes. I mean, time and again we're told that our constituents are most concerned with the exorbitant property taxes that they pay in the state of New Jersey. And I think this bill will only exacerbate that issue. It certainly does nothing to help it. And so others will pay more, or communities will reduce their levy. Wouldn't that be a shock, right, if a municipality actually reduced its property tax levy in the face of declining revenue? But you know what's going to happen then, right? The community's going to come right back here and ask us for more money because bills like this will deprive communities of property tax revenue, and then they're going to come to Trenton and say, you got to subsidize us now because you took our money away in the first place. And so it's going to create, I think, a vicious cycle that, again, will have unintended consequences. I think this legislature stood in unanimity back in March to support the suspension of evictions for tenants who were affected by the pandemic, which was the right thing to do. But when we get into schemes like this that impair contracts, create long time horizons for paybacks, presume to tell parties how to work out their differences, we're getting into a place that, again, fundamentally will raise property taxes on homeowners to subsidize the failure of people to pay their rent and the inability of landlords to go pursue it. We should oppose the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.